This video was made possible thanks to the EA Creator Network.
Welcome. I'm talking to Laireen today. She's one of the builders for The Sims 4 Businesses and Hobbies. She's here with me to talk about building for the pack. And as a pack builder myself, I really wanted to hear how you found the process and how the whole thing went for you. So hi, Laireen.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So to start, if we look away from the pack, how did you start with Sims and building?
Well, I saw the commercial or the ads for the Sims 1 back in 2000, early 2000s, and it was. I didn't play much computer games at the time, but that one really stood out, and I was thinking, yeah, that sounds like a fun game. I'd have to try it, and I bought it on release day, and I've been playing since. So all iterations: Sims 1, Sims 2, 3, 4. I didn't play much of the spin-offs. I have been playing a little bit of medieval as well, but not the other type, like mobile games and stuff. So yeah, but the building didn't really kick in. I mean, it started, I guess, in The Sims 2 when I found out that I was more in build mode than in actual live mode, because I thought it was even more interesting to actually progress on the builds and like expand on the houses but it's difficult to build in Sims 2, I think. So when we got to Sims 4 and got a little bit more intuitive tools and just a better build mode, I kind of only built then. So
yeah, that makes sense.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Only as we builders say, we only do gameplay when we need to play test, right? So
yes. Why else would you need?
To go into live mode? Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Okay, so
I've been with The Sims for 25 years. Yeah.
That's now you're making me feel old. But yes,
I was just about to say that makes me feel so old. But yeah, well, we are, I guess.
Well, tell us about your style. Like, if you were gonna try and describe your like a classic Laireen type of build style, what would that be?
I've had this question before, and I never know what to say, because I think I have favorite types of builds, but I don't have a specific style, I think. So everybody that knows me knows that I like the 64x64 lots, and I like doing combined lots or multi lot type lots. So mini towns or shops, and then apartments on top, or town squares, or parks with a lot of different features in it. So I do like the modern style, but I don't feel comfortable building modern style because I think it's a little bit boring in game, but I like it in real life.
Yes, so clean lines, right?
I don't do that many like typical residentials. I often, there's always a twist, and I always have an idea, and I do a lot of replications of maybe real life places that I've been to myself, or shops that I've been to. If I find them interesting, like the architecture might be interesting, or the combination of things in the real life places that I've been, I try to recreate. But I also do a lot of recreations of from movies and series, and trying to, I don't know, get inspiration. I've built a Smurf town, for instance, just because.
Wait, I think I missed that. Did I?
I did do a Smurf town. Yeah. It's been a while, but it was in The Sims 4, but it's like 5 years ago or something.
I might remember a mushroom town. Was that it?
No, it's more.
Okay.
It is mushrooms, obviously, because it's the Smurfs. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's what I
I did
thought.
do also how to train your dragon. I did a Burke
I
build.
do remember that.
And I did what's it called? Back to the Future. So the
Oh,
Hill Valley in the 50s.
yeah. Yeah.
So
I
I
love
mean
that.
I do get inspiration a lot from movies and things I see online or yeah. So yeah. So I mean I'm all over the place. At one time I also did a lot of like build challenges, but I
Yes.
don't really do that so much anymore. I actually haven't been building as much as I used to, but
I
I'm getting more and more into it again. It seems like we're getting a lot of new packs and kits that actually sparks my inspiration again, because we've had a lot of packs coming out that I wasn't that interested in, or where I found the architectural features not like in my wheelhouse. So I mean, and that kind of make you refrain from doing stuff. And obviously, I've done a lot. You can always do a starter. I mean, or like a pack limited build if you run out of inspiration. And I've done that a lot lately as well. But now we have the businesses and hobbies.
well,
So
that's
I'm very much looking forward to that, because that actually does make it able to make it possible to combine in a way that I usually build. So I mean, you have the ground floor with the shops and various types of shops, and you can do multiples, I hope. At least one of them will be playable, I guess, with the new pack. And then you have residentials above it, like apartments or whatever. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to actually also playing the game again, because I think if it works, let's hope, fingers crossed, not too many bugs, hopefully, then I think it would be actually also interesting to actually play the game.
right.
So yeah.
And bringing it back to businesses and hobbies, you were asked to build for the pack. How did that
Mhm.
whole process start?
Well, I did do a room build for the Home Chef Hustle pack back. When was that? A year ago or something? 1.5 years ago. And in connection with that, I did have some collaboration with some of the devs at the Sims team there. Then I was approached for building for this pack last summer, or the summer of 24. And that was because the people that I worked with on the room build actually had told the team that was working on this pack about me, and the way that like we had a very good collaboration, and they thought that I would be a good fit. And obviously being Danish, and this pack is centered around like Northern European big cities, and I live in Copenhagen, so that was kind of a very good fit. So I think that one thing is that I'm fitting like the bill up in relation to where I live, and also how I build, and also that they knew me beforehand, and we had a very good collaboration at the time, kind of made them think of me and ask me to build for the pack. And obviously I said yes. I mean, who wouldn't?
I mean,
Uh,
obviously you're here, and we're talking about the fact that you have
yeah.
built.
But I mean, still, I mean, I think it would would have to be very much out of my, comfort zone or whatever, or like, if they approach me with a question to ask to build for a pack which had some features that I wouldn't know anything about, or I didn't feel comfortable working on. I mean, I can't really see that happening, because I think the team is very good. Like the people at The Sims are very good at actually finding people that would have some sort of relation or some sort of build style or some sort of way into fit whatever pack they're asked to build for. Otherwise, they wouldn't be asked. I mean, I think it's very deliberate who they choose, because you
Yeah.
have to have some sort of knowledge in one way or another to be able to convey whatever they're trying to convey with the pack builds.
Yeah, and I mean, in that context, it must feel good that you were essentially referred, or it was a referral from someone that had worked with you before, is part of the reason, at least, that you were invited for this pack. I mean,
obviously that's a very big, obviously I'm very proud that they have been talking about me behind the scenes and saying she's a very good builder, or she's very nice to collaborate with, or she understood whatever we told her, blah, 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 whatever it is that's behind that reasoning. I mean, obviously, yeah. And when they approached me the first time, I was like, yeah, we have this opportunity that we would like to talk to you about. And I was like, But it can be a build opportunity, because I already did the room build for Home Chef Hostel, and then I thought that I've done my part, so they won't ask me again, but they did. And I was really surprised by that, actually, and obviously over the moon about it, because I mean, it's an amazing pack, and it really fits with how I build. And also, I didn't find it that difficult to build for this pack.
Well, this reminds me.
Because I got the inspiration really quickly.
Well, this reminds me, something you said made me remember back when I was first approached for Horse Ranch. When they approached you, did they give you any teaser? Because obviously before you say yes, like you're asked to work on a pack, but they can't really give you any information at that point, obviously, because you're not under NDA, right? So they might give you a hint, or they might give you, at least in my case, it was Frost that was the CM that approached me. And I remember he got all four of us in a chat, and he, for a split second, he posted like a image of a horse to kind of throw a hint at us, and then he had to delete it, right? Without saying anything.
Yeah.
Did they do anything funny like that, or did they kind of just say, "Hey, we have an opportunity"?
No, so the initial approach was just an email, and as you said, they couldn't say anything because the world didn't have a name, the pack didn't have a name, they didn't know all of the items that would be in the pack. They had ideas about how gameplay would work and what they wanted to do, but they were still working on it at the time. It's been so long. They approached me, I think it was in August? No, it was before August. I think it was June, end of June or something. So at the time, I guess a lot of the development was still like just on the drawing board. So they hadn't really gotten into actually working on the pack. They just had probably, I don't know, but because I'm not like working at The Sims, so I wouldn't know. But still, they couldn't convey anything because they didn't know a lot of things at the time. And I think I'm trying to think back what the initial email even said. I think it was just like, we have this opportunity, we want you to build some lots for a new pack coming out. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, I don't care what it is.
Yes. I don't care, exactly, I don't care what it is. But then we came into, so I emailed with them a couple of times, and in that email conversation, it was also said that so we will send you an NDA, and you will be like informed a little bit more. You get more details, and you can still after that then decide, do you want to like agree or not agree to do the bills? Because obviously it's difficult to just say yes blindly. I did, but I mean, it was an initial yes, I'm interested. So it was more like an expression of interest to begin with, and then when it came to all the like paperwork and stuff like that, then you're just you have to, obviously, because you sign that you are gonna build for the pack. But at that time I got a little bit more information. I think we had an online call about it, as you said that you had. I think we were also 4 builders for this pack. And I think what they did, they had a lot of they had ideas, and they had like they didn't have like screenshots or anything, but they did have like what do they call them, like design sheets or like background info. So like going through the ideas with us, saying what we're thinking about with this pack is this and this and this, and we would have elements that would look sort of like this, so we're looking for builds in this type of style, and so we got a little bit more detail at the time.
Well,
and at the time we were under NDA, so obviously if we would have said, well, I don't think that's for me, then obviously we would still be under the NDA and couldn't say anything about it, obviously. But yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works. But so you were approached by email, which is interesting to me because I was approached in Discord DMs. I just had Frost sliding into my DMs and like, hey, can you friend request me, please? And I'm like, what? Because then he dragged all 4 of us that were invited into a group chat and essentially gave us all the info there. So I knew immediately who was being invited with me. And it sounds like from your experience that it might have been a one-on-one dialogue, I guess, with the devs.
I'm not sure about that, because I think they had my contact info from the Home Chef Hustle room build, and I think that was why I was approached that way. I'm not sure how the other builders were approached, because they most likely they would have been contacted via Discord as well. I wouldn't know. I actually don't know. We didn't talk about that. So but that might as well been the case, that they were approached via Discord as well, because. Yeah, well, I guess they have your email information being in the creator network. So I believe so. I'm not sure. Yeah, but I'm not sure.
So speaking of your fellow builders, who built with you on this pack?
So Johanna built, and Kelly Hart and Eva Rodke were the 3 other builders. And it was funny because at the beginning of the process, we were told, okay, we have this many lots, and these are the type of lots. We have some residential, we have a starter home, we have like business lots, blah, blah, blah. And here's the list. And then now we want you to send us an email with your like prioritized list of which ones you would be interested in building. And I think all of us got 2 lots that were on our prioritized list, like top of the list. I got my 2 preferred ones, so I was happy. Like my priority 1 and 2. So
I only got 1, but it was my top choice, so that's okay. I had 4 choices I had to put up, and I only got the first one, but I did get the top one, so I was happy. I was perfectly happy.
Yeah, but I think also because the 4 of us are different types of builders, so it wasn't that difficult to actually, divide the lots between us, because I don't think we had the same priorities. Actually, I don't think the team had that many issues with like dividing the lots between us.
Well,
I guess there obviously would have been some overlap. We had to send in a list of 4 priorities, I think, but we also all of us had 2 lots each.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, speaking, that actually brings me to a question I had that I noticed when I was looking at Nordhaven, because I noticed that there are 4 lots that were kept open. And that, to me, seemed very unusual. Was that something you talked to the team about? Was that a specific decision they made because of community feedback, for example? Because people have been asking for more empty lots? Is there any talk about that?
No, and I think I only actually realized that there were this many empty lots, like at the end of the process, or maybe even now when I saw
you were so focused.
No, because we were like allotted some of the lots, and you never know what the devs might have. So they might have something specific in mind for those empty lots. Maybe they would, I don't know, do a Sims team build on one of them. You wouldn't know. Obviously now it seems like all the lots that are being built in packs are builder, like creator builds, but you never know. So I didn't even pay attention to that. I was just so, as you say, I was pretty focused on my own 2 lots and didn't really pay attention.
And this might actually be the same for you, but people watching might not realize that in the very early version, CFE version we get when we build, the map isn't actually there. So there's just in my case, I can't remember if it was like a black or white. There was some void, and it's just basically a color on the screen, and you have a bunch of lots kind of in the middle there somewhere, and they will have a random number or something.
We struggled a bit at the beginning finding our own lots, because we were just, which lot is it that I'm supposed to be building on? Because as you say, it's not really that obvious.
There's no map
because
yet.
The map is not really there. They're just like, as you say, it's just a black screen with some squares on it, and then you have to kind of navigate. And okay, I think I remember I had the most upper lot or whatever, and so we had a little bit of back and forth with the team at the time, saying, I think it's this one, is that one mine? And doing screenshots and like Xing out whichever ones we thought were ours. Yeah. It was a whole thing, but that's it. And I mean, over the course of the months that we actually built, we had, I don't know, 3 or 4 updates to the CFE. Because obviously they were working on the pack at the same time, so you kind of see the lot or the map being kind of brought together over time, and it kind of get populated with more and more details. So we didn't know what it would end up looking like at the time, which is also a thing that kind of make it a little bit difficult to actually start on the first version of the build that you do, because I'm very much paying attention to the surrounding area when I build. I try to make it fit where I build it, which is, on a side note, if the devs are listening in or the Sims teams is listening in, could you please make some sort of thing in the gallery so when you upload that you can see give the lot a freaking number or something, so you know where it's supposed to be, which lot it's built on, because that always makes it so hard to take down lots and put in your game, because you don't know where to put it. Maybe you can see that it's Willow Creek, but do you know specifically which lot it is? No. And if you build so it fits the surroundings, it doesn't really fit the surroundings if you put it somewhere else. But that was an issue for me, because you have this placeholder, weird faceless buildings around the world, and specifically around the lot I was one of the lots I was building, and like in Old Town, I built the Koffieboon, which is like next to a square, and it has all these surrounding buildings around this open space, and they were just like placeholder, whichever type, like really generic whatever builds. So I mean, I couldn't draw from that. I had an idea, because some of the buildings did have like the ornamented roof details and stuff, so I could see how to make it fit.
Well, that's interesting, actually, because compared to and I did see that in some of the screenshots you showed me of your earlier builds, that the surroundings looked a lot bleaker. So I get what you mean, but also this is something I didn't really experience.
It doesn't even have windows or anything. No, I mean,
exactly.
I'm thinking when you build for horse ranch, I think it would be.
Well, it was just bushes and trees, so I didn't have any buildings anyway.
But I'm thinking easy might not be the right word to describe it. But I mean, if you're building on a lot in the middle of nowhere, where it's just like out in the like desert type area where you don't have any surrounding buildings, you have a little bit more freedom, I guess, in some capacity. Whereas because I'm the type of builder that I am, that I want everything to kind of fit, and it looks like it's like made to be there, and it was supposed to be there, the building that I'm doing. It was a little bit difficult, but obviously the upside is that when you build for a pack, you only have base game and that particular pack, and then you only have like the build mode items that comes with the pack. So it kind of you know how you're going to end up. The building is going to end up looking like, because you have those build features like the roof details and like dormers or whatever. So I mean, you are limited, but sort of in a good way, because it makes it a little bit easier to find the right style, I guess.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Nordhaven, when you first started building on the pack and you saw the world, What was your first impressions? What do you think? Do you think that they made it a good version of? I mean, it's mainly based on Sweden as and Stockholm as its core, obviously drawing on different elements. But how do you feel about Nordhaven?
Yeah, well, I think you're right in that it has a very Stockholmish like vibe to it, and I guess it's basically mostly I think because of in the old town you have those roof detailing thingies that you would see in Lilletorget or Stortorget in also in is it Malmö that has that? It's like the same vibe.
Yeah.
Uh, but I actually think so. A lot of like larger cities in Northern Europe does have water in canals, including Copenhagen, and you have like the fjord going into Oslo as well. So you would have like they have divided it now where you have the old town and the new town. And whereas the old town is like the old town, and then you have the new part of town, which is like newly developments. It's like all these I guess modern builds with a lot of glass and a lot of like architectural features, but also type like a bit maybe to some degree a bit like boxy and glass and and I think that's why they actually put the empty lots on the new part of town, because it's like it's a like under development, because it's a new part of town that they kind of took away, like I guess old, as you would see in real life, they take away old, what's it called, storage facilities and harbor thingies, and where they load big boats and cargo and whatever, because it's not maybe necessary as much now as it used to be, because we have air freight, I guess. So, and then they would like put all these lots up for sale, and new developers will come in and do like the modern builds. So I think it makes sense. I think it makes total sense to me, and I do see that the layout of the world actually fits a lot of the northern bigger cities. So it makes sense to me, and I was happy to see that. I kind of got, even though it's, as we said, it's very Stockholmish, especially in the old town. I did see a similarity to some of the old buildings that I see in Copenhagen. So I didn't think it was really that far-fetched. And I think that was kind of what made it easy for me to actually build there, because I just drew on the experience I have and like the knowledge that I have of my own town.
Yeah. It was the same for me actually. In the old town, I can definitely see elements that I've seen when I lived in Oslo. And some of the buildings, they might not be as ornate as in Stockholm, but some of the facades and elements and colors are still things that I could see and recognize in Oslo.
Yeah, and I think also the layout. So you have like smaller streets and pedestrian streets, and you have like open spaces where the like marketplaces and stuff like that is happening. And I think they kind of made a really good choice with how they like the pavements and like the pedestrian crossings and like the areas that they kind of try to convey. So I've been zooming around in tab mode and try to look around town, both when I was building, but also now that I have access to the pack. And I mean, I think I really like the world, and I think I actually would build a lot there. I haven't been building a lot in some of the packs that have come like the bigger packs that have come with worlds recently, because I didn't really feel like. So as I told you at one point, sometimes I struggle with, for instance, with the Lovestruck world, because I don't know how to build there, because it's so foreign to me and I don't really have any relation to it. I like the world. I think it's a very, very beautiful world, but I just struggle build wise with it, because my build style doesn't really fit that type of build style. But in this case, obviously, because it's also so close to home, so it feels natural, and you just build because you just build a normal house. For me, it's a normal house.
Exactly. And it's something you know and are familiar with. So it's easy to draw on those experiences.
Yeah, because I think if I build for some of the other worlds, like in general, I do tend to, if I really want to keep true to the vibe of the world, I would actually go and do some research and look up some images and trying to find out like architectural differences between here and there. If it's like, I don't know, an Asian build or an American build or whatever, I would look up like certain architectural styles to see if I can make it fit into the world. And in this case, I don't have to do research because I will just build from whatever is in my mind because it's so close to home. Yeah.
Well, was there any specific design choices that you made, or all four of you for that matter, made to try and make Nordhaven and the builds unique, differing from previous packs?
I can't speak for the other builders, obviously. We didn't really discuss this, but what happens when you are asked to build for a pack is that the team will give you sort of a background story and what they think that the build should contain. It could be because of gameplay or it could be other reasons. And in this case, for instance, the Koffieboon, which is a combined coffee shop, classroom, what's it called, like having classes for writing on the bottom floor, and then apartment on the upper floor for a specific family. There's a pre-made family. I got like a whole list of things that kind of had to be not included, but they kind of said, okay, this is the family living there. This is a generational family. It consists of these people, and all these people have these hobbies, and all these people they know each other like this, and the parents got together because of blah blah blah. You have like the whole backstory, and obviously they give us this information so that we will actually build something for those specific persons, which means that you will have to convey in some sort of way. So, for instance, in my build, there's a character called Grandma Hattie, and she loves to bake, and she has like a baking stall also out in the square sometimes where she sells her baked goods. And people that have played the Herbs would know this person because she is an Herbs character. I'd never played the Herbs myself, and I was a little bit wary about actually having to build something for people that I don't know, characters I don't know anything about.
A known character as well.
Yeah, because I know that it comes with a lot of lore, and there will be a lot of backlash if I don't do it right and I don't do Grandma Hattie okay, and blah blah blah. Yeah. So, but what I did was I took just into account that the fact that she comes from, I can't remember, some Caribbean place, and so I put in like in my build I did choose wallpaper with like the big Caribbean leaves thing we got in base game at some point. To kind of give a nod to her being from the Caribbean, and stuff like that I tried to add in. So I didn't do things specifically according to the specs that I got, but I made small nods here and there to actually emphasize that I kind of understood that it had to be fitting for that particular person living in that
it makes sense for that
residential
for that character.
I think, and also, I mean, the parents is like a lesbian couple, and I actually also took into account that. So I did also add things that would give like a tribute to LGBTQ, and I mean, I tried to not go full blown with whatever kind of feature one person had, but kind of like make it subtle, but still there. And I mean, obviously, I know that you know that as well. People sometimes they just take out the household and just use the household or the residential for whatever household they are playing at the time or their own household. So it should be generic enough so that anybody can live there, but it still has nods to specific persons living there from the pre-mates. So I mean, yeah.
I mean, we can
But
have a look when we go in, because we're gonna check out the Koffieboon actually, and then you can explain some of the details and why you put it. But in terms of the building process, did you find a big difference between, or I guess which differences did you find between building for a pack versus how you would normally build?
I didn't find it that difficult, actually. I didn't see that there were, obviously, when I think it depends, because sometimes I do like just a build. If I build for myself, I sometimes do just, I don't pay attention to packs. I just put in whatever I feel like. But in this case, I only had like base game and the pack, and I have been, so for the last year or so, coincidentally, has nothing to do with me building for this, but I actually started doing base game one pack only builds for specific packs. So I can't even remember what I did. I think I did one in, yeah, I can't even remember now because I've been preoccupied with this pack. But I did only, so when I do base game one pack only, I find it liberating not having to go through that many choices, because I know that people that know me as a builder know that the word is that I am a fast builder, which is not true. I'm actually a very slow builder. I just always have more than 20, 30 VIPs at a time. Which means that sometimes when I finish up all of these works in progress, they kind of get finished sort of around the same time. So it seems like I just spit out like builds like consecutively, like one day at a time, and then they come out successively like in a short period of time. So it seems that I build fast, but I don't. I mean, some of the works in progress that I have been in my game for maybe 2 years, and then I sort of pick them up again. But the reason why I'm not a fast builder is actually because I struggle with choices, because we have, and the more packs we get, the more choices we have to make about colors and items and type of whatever you're looking at, like what is the build style, what am I thinking about the persons that would live in this house, what would they be interested in, would they then have like a blue kitchen, or would they have like a conservative white kitchen, or whatever. So I mean, in this case, that actually kind of helped the build process, because you only had one pack and you only had so many choices.
Yes.
So I've actually found it quite liberating not having to make a lot of decisions. And also you get like the spec sheet, which also kind of narrows it down about how wide you can go with your choices of colors or whatever.
Right.
So I actually found it quite easy, or like very approachable and very easy to start up.
We should also.
And when I say that it was easy to start up this build, it wasn't, because I did 5 iterations before I actually handed one over to the devs, because I struggled a little bit at the beginning to kind of find my footing. But sort of when I got to a place where I was happy with like the starting point, because I knew that. So you send in your build, and they have a lot of feedback, and then you do some changes and you send it in again, and then they have feedback and back and forth. So you go back and forth 3 or 4 times. So I knew that there would be time enough to fix up whatever. So when I was at a point where I thought, okay, this basis, like this framework that I built here, so the layout of the building and like the structure of the building and how many floors I had, and because I had to, so I had to have like the coffee shop and the writing class at the bottom, and then I also had to have apartments above fitting for 5 people. So and it's a quite small lot. I don't even remember the size of that. Is it like 40 times 30 or 40 times 40 or something?
I think it's smaller, isn't? No, maybe you're right.
30 times 20, maybe. I mean,
I think it might be a 2020 or 2030.
For me, it's a very small lot, because it's not 64 times 64.
Well, that's true.
But yeah, so I had to build like in height then and build up, and then you have all the struggles with the stair placements, and they take up a lot of space as well. And so that's why I kind of struggled at the beginning to trying to find out how to actually lay out the lot to make sure that I could fit everything in without it being too big. And it also, and luckily I didn't have any restrictions budget wise, so I didn't pay attention to that, because so that was nice as well, because obviously
Yes.
that would have been an extra
Isn't that
dimension.
just peachy for you,
Yeah.
Laireen? Isn't that just
Yeah.
peachy?
I know that you had a couple of starters and on budget, and
A couple. Yeah.
I'm very happy I didn't have to go through that, because that's
It was
a
pain.
whole other ball
I
game,
cried
right?
myself to sleep every day.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something you said that I thought, because one thing is pack, like as you said, we have BG and you have the pack only, which does make it easier in the sense of like you said, less choices. But there are some differences here that I feel like we need to point out, because there's quite a lot of restrictions here too that are not there when we build normally. Like we don't have debug, we don't have move,
placement.
we don't have
no,
all
and we don't have all
placement,
placement. Yeah,
which is quite
that
painful.
was an issue. I think the move objects wasn't that difficult for me for this build, because I think that because I know you and I've heard about how you build for the pack, and I've seen a lot of the the YouTube videos coming out when other people have been building for the pack, and they kind of always emphasize like, so you can't use like multiple different types of wallpaper, because that will impact performance on the lot, and you can't do a lot of clutter because that will impact a lot of the performance on the lot, yada yada yada. So I kind of knew that going in, and also I did also have like a pre-run of building, because I did the room build, which kind of was an advantage for me, because I knew what I couldn't do. So even though we couldn't have all placement, and I didn't clutter, actually I didn't really clutter. I didn't. Sometimes I do go overboard in my own builds with clutter, but that's only if I try to convey a specific type of build. But I didn't find it that difficult, because I knew that I also had to pay attention to lot performance, and specifically with this lot, the Koffieboon, I had to really pay attention to lot performance, because it's a very big build on a very small lot, and it only can hold so many items. So it kind of turned out. I had it in the back of my mind from the beginning, so I didn't find that it was that difficult not to use move objects or place a lot of clutter items. What I found was so we could use the F5 placement, so like quarter tile placement.
Yeah, I made use of that.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of gives you a little bit of leeway, since you can use alt or move. But I think the all placement happens because it's just so ingrained in you as a builder. So you just do it without you knowing you're doing it.
Yes.
And all the four of us, all of the builders, including myself, struggle with this. And we did get like feedback from the devs saying, cheats detected, please investigate.
Yes.
And
they have a detector. For those that don't know, they have a detector.
Lucky for me. Oh. So hang on.
All right, we're back. We had to take a short break because Laireen's headphones decided to run out of battery. So we had a bit of a break. But we were talking about alt placement detectors before we got cut off rudely.
Yeah, I mean, as you were about to say before, it kind of gets saved because so they say cheats detected, please investigate, and then you would have maybe some idea of where you might have used it. But I had a fairly large build with a lot of items, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going through everything. How can I? I mean, then it's like starting all over. And then they said that they had the alt detector tool, whatever thing, So they said, yeah, if you don't have any idea of where it is, then leave it to us, then we will find out. And they actually found I placed a chair somewhere where I used I think it was because I used the half tile placement, and it kind of I pushed it up against the wall, so like the footprint of the chair was actually outside of the building, and it didn't like that. So I think that was the only one thing I had. But I mean, all of the other builders had the same issue. We all had that issue because it's just so ingrained in you, so you don't even know that you're doing it. So you just build, and then they say cheats detected, and you're like, oh dang it, because we were told from the beginning, be aware that this is a possibility that you might accidentally do the ore placement, and you can't.
Yeah.
And everybody did it on multiple occasions because I mean, it's just how you build, right? So,
we were also warned about it, and I still remember because they were very adamant, like, do not use alt placement, because to us they were like, I don't want to spend the time to try and figure out where it is, and I don't think you want to spend the time to try and figure out where it is either, because it doesn't tell us which item it is and where it is. You have to go looking for it. So I don't think, from memory, I don't think I had anything that came up, or it could have been one thing one time. I do.
But I mean, you have fairly smaller bills compared to, for instance, the Koffieboon that I did, because it's like several stories high and a lot of items. Yeah.
No, I'm just.
And
kidding.
I did also.
That's all.
I also did go over like the performance several times. So I had to, remove all the curtains, for instance, or
Yes.
just take it. Maybe don't have these things like lighting, because the pack comes with new string lights.
Yeah.
Like wall mounted string lights, and I had put on their recommendation. They wanted me to put in some lights in the cafe area, and I did. And apparently I put too many, so I had to take out a lot of. Or I think actually they kind of took it out at the end because there were issues with performance. Because in my last, I think the last hand in, I think I was just on the threshold of going over the 100% performance. And then when they do the last revision, or when they kind of put it in the game, like the final, and like I mean, they didn't put in, like, in quotation marks, they didn't put in the final version, because I mean, they tweak it still after you send in the final submission.
Yeah.
I think because they have to check if gameplay is working properly. I think at that point they had to rearrange a little bit and move some items. Not remove them, but just move them around for gameplay sake. And then in that connection, it kind of went over the 100% on the performance, and then they had to take out a few of the lights, but it was like minor stuff. And I was like, you just do whatever is needed. I don't really mind, because I would rather have it playable than look good, and it was only lights. As long as it still keeps like the vibe or the idea of the build, then it's fine. So I left it up to them to kind of fix it. So yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they know what they're doing.
Yeah, but I think it's so cool that they actually have a tool to detect the ore placement, and
it's cool and terrifying at the same time. Why would you have such a thing?
Yeah, but I know that when they told us at one point, okay, don't pay attention to, if you don't know, like, on the top of your head what is actually causing the issue, then don't pay attention to, just keep building, and then we will find it. And I think one of the devs actually had the job of going through everything.
That sounds
manually.
like a terrible job.
Yeah, I really feel for that dev, but I'm on the same at the same time, I'm like, thank God it's not me.
Weirdly, with the alt placement, I thought that was what I was going to struggle most with, but I actually found it easier than I thought it would. I think the thing I struggled most with in terms of alt placement, it was actually wall placements more than anything, where I really had to almost focus on what I was doing to not automatically move things with alt.
Up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So walls were harder for me.
Yeah.
But bringing it back to the pack and the objects, was there when you first got the pack and you go through all of the build by, was there objects in there that you just fell in love with and you thought, I have to find a way to use this in my build or one of my builds?
Well, it came across already at the beginning when we had to do the prioritized list of which lots we wanted to do, because I was like, yeah, I need to do a coffee shop because coffee.
Makes sense.
I mean, yeah. And
On
it's
brand.
kind of been a staple. Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of been a staple in all my builds that I need to have a coffee maker. Some things related to coffee. If I do like a commercial type build, even though I have multiple like community type thingies, or if I do shops or whatever, it's most likely there will be a coffee shop.
Well, let me just say,
if I do residentials, I always put in like the coffee maker. I don't care about like the microwave or the food processor. No, we don't have that in Sims 4. Whatever type of like tabletop appliance we have, always a coffee maker.
Yeah,
every time.
It's a better brand to have than toilet paper. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I did go through and actually I paid attention to the toilet paper because I know it's an issue, and it is an issue for me as well. So I know we
will be
totally
checking. I will be checking.
In sync on that. Yeah, but I actually do have one place where I didn't place toilet paper, but that's very deliberate. But we will come to that. But I was thinking at the time we had to do the prioritization of the lots. I wanted to do the coffee shop, which was my first priority, because first of all, it is a multi-purpose lot, because it has both like commercial and residential in one lot, which is also on brand for me. And it's a coffee shop, so that was like a no-brainer to actually ask for that lot. And the other lot that I wanted to do was the park lot. But at the time that I wanted to do the park lot, at the time I did the prioritization, I didn't really know what was actually entailed. What they had in mind with the park. I was, thinking about like doing a sort of like the big old parks that we have in Copenhagen, where people go for outdoors concerts or like hang out and do picnics, and there are statues and it's a very nice place, yada yada yada. And it was definitely not what they had in mind. So I was a bit taken by surprise by what they wanted with the park lot. But as it turned out, it actually had other features in it that they wanted to incorporate that I really, really liked. So it turned out for the better anyway. So I was actually really happy with my choices. So I didn't have any particular items that I wanted to put in. But it kind of sort of just fit with the lot that I got. Because I got the coffee lot, the cafe lot, and I did get the park lot, which also had elements of construction, which is also a thing. And I actually did at one point, I think 8 years ago, did do a construction site build with whatever limited number of packs we had at the time, which was kind of a struggle. But for this one, I could kind of fully like incorporate like under construction signs and fences and stuff like that, which was like a dream come true. So yes, I did have items. I had the coffee shop counter, which is a nicer looking cafe counter than the one we got in Get Together, because that's kind of old fashioned. I like this one better because it's a more modern one, and it kind of really looks
it's sleeker.
But also it looks similar to what I would see in real life. I think the other one is one thing is that it's country. Also outdated now because it's just old fashioned, and it's 9 years ago they made that pack or something about that. Maybe something like that. So maybe 9.5 years ago. So I mean, obviously They kind of and also I don't know, the items in the early packs were like the graphics of it, and it's a bit more bulky and not very, like as you say, sleek and detailed and like smoother surfaces and stuff like that. So yeah. So I got the coffee counter and I got the construction site, which I'm very happy about. So I didn't have any specific items as such. I did find that there are a lot of items in the pack, but it's specifically the build mode, like the not the buy objects, so not the couches and the counters and the whatever
exterior
decorations.
elements.
It's more it's the exterior architectural elements that I kind of find intriguing in this pack, and I think you can do a lot of more interesting builds exterior on the exterior with these items. I always really like when they add stuff like what's it called, the dormers and like the spandrels and the corbels and all the stuff that kind of like this. They are small details, but that's what actually makes you makes it possible to actually recreate specific build styles, because you have those details. Like I mean drains and gutters and stuff like that. It's the same. It's like it doesn't really do anything for gameplay, but it kind of gives you a better immersion in the game because
Realism.
You can make it more realistic. And I like that. I do tend to do a lot of realism. I say that when I also already told you that I did a Smurf city. So I mean, yeah. But it's kind of either or with me. It's either I do full on realism build, or I do like the exact opposite. So yeah.
Yeah. So we've already mentioned your two lots. So you built Koffieboon and you built the new harbor park. So I guess it makes sense now that we go and actually check out the builds. We'll start with the Koffieboon. I'll go into it here. I'll go into build mode so that we can check it out. You've already mentioned parts of the process for building for this, but and you also mentioned that you did quite a few different versions of this in the beginning, right? That this is not the first or the final version is not where you started, I guess is a good way of putting it.
No, because I was at the beginning I was trying to find a way to like recreate some of the build style from the surrounding buildings. And also at the same time I was thinking about the buildings that I would see like in Copenhagen city center, which are not this type of buildings. A little bit similar, but like color wise, yes, but not with like the big thingy on the roof, because those are, as we talked about earlier, are very specific for, I guess, Sweden. The Stockholm in particular, and Malmö. But I think so I tried other like ways of approaching it at the beginning, and it just didn't feel right, and it just didn't and I struggled a lot with size because it's a fairly big family. It's 5 people, and also the whole ground floor was allocated to classes and the coffee shop. So I struggled a little bit with that, and so I went through 5 different builds before I actually ended up submitting this one, not as it is here, but like, so the layout is the same, so the building and the number of stories and how the buildings are laid out on the lot is exactly the same as the first one I submitted.
Okay.
So the tweaks have actually been more on the inside and not on the outside. I switched out a couple of windows and added some extra dormers and some like drain pipes and stuff like that, but like minor details on the outside. I did do a lot. I originally I had like paved the entire lot, but they wanted me to change it up to be a little bit more organic and look like, I guess, dirt and gravel and stuff instead. So I switched it up, but not much changed on the outside, actually. It was more on the inside. But that was also because there was a lot of gameplay testing in the bottom floor because of the classes, and like the whiteboard had to be there, and we had to fit in everything. And originally, there was talk about having like a cooking class, like a baking class for Grandma Hattie to have a baking class. So I originally had to have room enough to actually put in sort of not a full kitchen, but kitchen counter, so that they would be able to do cooking lessons there or baking lessons. But then you would have to have counter space and the whiteboard to do the classes, and you would have to have a sink and a fridge and whatever, and you had to have 4 stations because you have to have like the maximum amount, I think, in a class is 4. So there had to be 4 like cooking stations, and it just ended up taking too much space. So they kind of aborted that idea, and then we just went with like the writing class instead, and then making sure that Grandma Hattie had a fully functional kitchen that was her own, so that she could like prepare whatever she needed for her food stall. Or like the selling table that she has for, I think it's a food stall, it's like a vendor thingy. That she can bring with her into the world.
Is she the one that lives here in the top flat, or
She
where
lives
does?
in the pink building in the top flat.
So here.
Which also, yeah. So I had, so there's a nod to her like Caribbean heritage there, and like the leaves, and that was sort of it. I didn't really, and then I kept it like toned down in the she's the only one that actually kept her curtains. Otherwise I don't have any curtains anywhere.
Ain't she lucky?
But yeah.
I can't help but notice this is.
I did a granny flat for her. But one thing is that so my argument for this to actually, instead of her just having a room in the joint, like the common, like the whole residential area, was that in Denmark, it is common that if you have multi generations, you would have them like this. So you would have your own apartment within an apartment, or you would have your own floor that would be yours, or like allocated area of the residential part that would be yours. So it's not uncommon that you have generational builds where you have like different generations living on each floor. So that's what I got the inspiration from to do it like this. But one thing that kind of is against doing it like I've done it is that she's the granny. She's like the elder. She's like the older generation, and at one point she will struggle getting up all those stairs to get to her apartment on the upper floor.
Yeah.
But because we don't have elevators. But anyway, yeah. So that kind of goes against my original idea, but the layout of the buildings just didn't allow for me to put her like on the first floor. What is it, like the middle floor? So yeah. So it ended up like this, and I'm quite happy with it. So she has her own place, but still the whole like the hallway or the stairwell is not a public stairwell, because it still just connects obviously to the ground floor, but it also just connects to the downstairs, which is like where the rest of the family lives. So I imagine the grandkids coming upstairs, going up to Grandma Hattie and get her baked goods and stuff. I mean, it I can see it happening also in real life. So I was happy with my choice there, definitely.
I do have to say, I feel the color scheme is very beige. Just throwing it out there.
It is a Scandi build, right?
Yeah.
So we do muted tones and beiges and grays and off whites and whatever. Yeah. And I did put, this is the thing. So I put the window to the bathroom going into the hallway, which is very typical in Denmark in older buildings, like old apartment buildings in the city center.
Was it for like ventilation or?
No, it's just to get the daylight in.
But from the hallway?
So you would have it. So yeah. So you have
from the window here.
Yeah. So what you would have in Danish buildings, in apartment buildings, like in not in the city center, but in the surrounding areas around the city center, you would have you would have a back stairwell for like a kitchen stairwell, you call it, because it goes directly into the kitchen, and that way you can get down into the courtyard. That would be because it would often be like a square with the four with apartment buildings creating a square with a courtyard in the middle, and the courtyard would be like a common area, and that's where you would have the bins. And back in the day, like way back in the day, that's where also you would have like the outside toilets, because there were no toilets on the inside, because inside plumbing wasn't a thing when the buildings were built back in the day. So to have extra light coming in, because daylight is a thing in the Nordics, you know that.
Yes.
We don't have that much of it, so we kind of want to get everything we can. So they would have windows going into the back stairwell for the kitchen stairwells. So that it's a very common thing.
Yeah.
Which is why I did that.
So we have grandma up here. So that means, I guess, the rest of the family would live in this part of the build?
Yeah, so you have the parents, two women. Also, so the whole family is based on the herbs. So people that have played the herbs would know these people. Unfortunately, I don't.
I don't
but
either.
I did get a brief of like their background story. So yeah, I tried to stay as true to what I know of like older buildings in the city here, but with a modern twist and with a Sims twist, because obviously you can't recreate everything like down to the detail of real life. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, combined kitchen, dining, and then a living room, a shared bath, because we don't have en suites here. That's not a thing.
Checking the toilet paper here. It's approved.
What?
It's the toilet paper is approved.
I'm so happy. My life is complete.
I know.
And then there's like a child who is a boy, and a teen who is a girl, and she's into dancing, I think. So she has like I think there's a boombox.
You got the boombox here.
Yeah, and like those. Yeah, and then I had this. I was actually told that it was such a shame that I put the graffiti thingy on that wall. Okay. Because when people play, they play with the walls down, which is weird because I always play with the walls up. Because
that's as a builder you do, right?
Because yeah, exactly. But when you put the walls down, you can't see it. So people that are playing would never ever see that. But I was like, yeah, well, I'm still keeping it there because I can see it. I know it's there and it's supposed to be there.
It's my build.
I just kept it.
And I see it.
So I guess, I hope that's not the issue with performance then.
Well, I mean, they kept it.
Yeah, it's still there.
So you convinced them.
Maybe they didn't notice it because they're playing with the walls down.
Well, that could be.
Yeah, I don't know. And then just like a simple bedroom for the parents. Yeah. But I think the layout kind of suits the style that I was going for, what I would imagine or what I have seen myself in these types of builds or like buildings in the city center.
Yeah, I think it's a layout that works. You have the sort of wing with the bedrooms, and then you have the living area in between bathroom.
Yeah, the one thing that kind of, I mean, the bathroom kind of, it's not really that connected to the bedrooms, but it's in the middle of the apartment. So no matter where you are, it's like,
makes sense for guests.
That is there. It makes, yeah.
Mostly, since it's only one bathroom, you also need to think about the fact that guests or anyone else visiting would also use it, and it's not specific to the family living there in that sense.
And then I think also one thing, so I have a hallway going into the bedrooms, which is also a thing. So a lot of the apartments here have hallways. That's just a thing. Yeah. It's not open space. So we do a lot of open space living in general in the Nordics. But that's kind of a thing that's like come now. It hasn't always been like that. So people knock down walls and open up the spaces to get more light, which is often the issue, and creating this more airy space. So I was thinking also maybe I should have had like a hallway with the entrance door, but I kind of went away from that, especially because you actually do have a hallway, because you have like the stairwell, and the stairwell is their stairwell. It's not so usually in an apartment build you would have like a shared stairwell with all the apartment doors on each floor. But since this is a one family house, it doesn't really matter. So I just decided to. But I did put a stool. So you see the
I
small
see it
stool
here in
that
the
is
corner.
there. Yeah, I used to have like a regular chair there, but I switched to that one, and then it didn't interfere with anything, and the footprint didn't go again outside of the wall and stuff. So yeah, because I'm thinking Grandma Hattie needs a place to rest when she comes up with all her groceries, and she has to go walk
Yes.
all the way upstairs
Yes.
with all her
Gotta
stuff. Yeah.
look out for her hips, as she's getting older.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a thing. So here you can get the municipality to actually install resting chairs on the platforms between the stories. I know my grandmother had one installed in her apartment building for her, because she was not very good, a very good walker, because she had issues with her legs at the end. So yeah.
So you mentioned there's two kids in this family, the daughter that likes dancing, and we have the boy. But as for
he likes drawing, I think so. He has like the drawing table.
I did see the
Yeah.
drawings on the wall here, and he has a little drawing table. Was there any other elements that you added, because like for the two parents in this case, that were specific to them or their personalities?
So there are bookcases, because one of the parents, she is very much into writing. So obviously a bookcase. And I also added both in the kitchen and in the hallway, there are I think it was for Pride Month at some point, we got in game those pictures there. So I put those in because it's a lesbian couple, just to give a nod to that, and also because obviously it's always a struggle finding like artwork that fit.
Yeah.
And I think that's especially if you do pack restrictions, because I was thinking of one particular painting that I wanted to put in, and I was like, oh, that's not from this pack, that's not from base game. So what do? I needed to find something else. And then obvious choice was to put in those. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But as you see, as I told you, there's not that much clutter. There is a little bit, but not too much. Also because, I mean, obviously, if you play with this family, then it's fine. You can add your own stuff, and if you choose to like evict the family and put in your own family, you can easily switch it up and add stuff if you want to, something that's more related to your particular family. Yeah.
All right. So I guess there's the coffee area, and the you said they had classes here for, was it writing?
Yeah. Because one of the parents is so let me think. Grandma Hattie and her husband, I think, started up the Koffieboon, and then it got the daughter kind of inherited it, or like took over. The one daughter, so she's into like the coffee shop business thing, and the other parent, she's into to writing, and she has writing classes in the coffee shop as well. So they have like a combined like workspace for both of them. And then Grandma Hattie does her baking thingies in her own kitchen, and then sell them at the market store. Yeah.
Okay. Here's the coffee section. I noticed there's a little
I really
itty
like
bitty
the
kitchen
coffee
here.
counter. I like that one. Yeah, because they have to do also, I think, maybe baked goods and stuff to sell in the coffee shop. I think I really like the counter. It's very similar to the thrifty bubble tea counter.
Thrifty, yeah.
I like it, but one thing I would have wished for, and I thought the same thing when we got the one in high school years, is that I would like to have one where like a mirror imaged one, where so you had like the curved part of it on the other side as well, so you can choose which way you want to put it, because I always struggle with how to place it, and you always have to have it like the same way because they go to pick up the items at that specific spot on the left side.
Yeah.
But you can't really put a curved thingy up against the wall because that looks weird. I mean,
it restricts you in terms of how you can use it.
Yeah. So I would, it would be nice if we had a mirrored one, but yeah. Hopefully we get that.
It's
in
a
coming
it's
pack
a
at
good
some point.
establishment when there's actually TP here.
Yeah, has to be. Doing
I
for
did
the
actually,
realism, right?
point this out when I was doing the overview and looking at the builds for the first time, and I really liked this area because this is such a coffee shop thing that you sit here in the window and you people watch and you are on your laptop or drinking your coffee or talking. It's a vibe.
Yeah, and actually I was thinking I had to have that because that's the thing, right?
It is.
But I had some issues with it though, and it was mainly because this is a regular type like dining table. Obviously it's like a high one, but why is it so wide? Because if it's like supposed to be a sort of a counter that you sit at and looking out the window, it would be like half the width.
Yeah, it's like a slim. Yeah.
I would like to have a slim version of it because that would kind of fit it even more. This looks like you're trying to make it into something realistic with whatever you have in game. As it that's always a struggle as a builder. You try to make it look like something that you would see in real life, but we don't really have the items to do it.
Yeah.
Yet.
And I mean, to be fair, when I looked at it, I didn't think, oh my gosh, I wish the tables were more narrow because that would have made more realistic sense. I didn't think about it at all. Maybe that's just me, but I just looked at it and I got the vibe. Like I knew exactly why they were there.
And that's obviously that's the most important part. So what I was thinking is actually conveyed by, I mean, as long as you see what I see, then I'm fine with it. And also, I would say that one thing I wished for also was that those windows, that the big ones, I really like them, but they only come in 3 color swatches, and the color swatches are so weird. They don't fit any of the other window color swatches, which is annoying. So you can't do like any homogeneous kind of uniform type of like color scheme for the facade of the building, which is I find it just annoying.
Yeah,
so
I get that.
I went with those ones because then it sort of fit the inside because I went with the yellow accent. But yeah.
To be fair, I didn't notice the outside because it's kind of hidden with the awnings over, so I didn't actually notice the windows.
Why do you think I have the awnings?
You know.
Yeah. Well, but one thing I was really happy about is that when you look at the map and you see this build, you kind of have to see the outline of the lot to actually see that it is actually a playable lot, and that kind of really makes it for me because I think that kind of also like I accomplished what I set out to do, and it was to get it so incorporated into the world that it really fit, and it does, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I had to do a double take. That's for sure.
Yeah,
the first
so
time
I mean, like the roof lines and everything kind of blends in with the rest of the world. So you have to kind of look for it to find it, which can also be a not so good thing, I guess, if people don't really realize that there is actually a lot there. But
yeah, it can flip both ways.
At least it won't get bulldozed because people don't notice it.
Exactly, you can't find it. The bullet. Can't bulldoze what you can't find.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about the tables being sort of one of these elements that you brought in from, I guess, a realistic point of view. Was there any other things that you added from either real life architecture or from designs for similar reasons?
Yes, I actually have a very, very, very important comment on that. And then if you look at the back side of the building, next to like the front door, which is like the back door, but it's the front door to the apartment, and you're going down there, and you see there that we now have a mailbox.
Yes, we do have a mailbox.
And I know that we got one in Snowy Escape, But
Yeah.
for this pack, we had the base game, standing, very American looking mailboxes, and I was like, is it like in the prog? I mean, are the developers thinking about actually adding anything other, some other type of mail slot? Because we also have that on doors. We used to have that all over, but now a lot of laws and regulations for the postal offices, blah 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 blah. They wanted to have easy access, so now it's like mandatory that you have a wall-mounted post box or mailbox. So I asked, and I didn't ask for it, but I actually commented to the devs saying, if we had to have to really get the immersion of Nordic cities, we need to have a wall-mounted one, because we would never ever have a freestanding on a pole type thing. Yeah, we have that in Denmark, but only in rural areas. You don't have it in cities.
Very
And
true.
as soon as I said this, all the three other builders said, yes, 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 it's the same where I live. We don't have that. We need to have a wall mounted. We need to have a wall mounted. And they kind of took note of that, and they made a wall mounted one for us.
So
you're welcome.
You got to influence the game directly by adding a mailbox.
And I think yeah, but I mean, all of us were arguing about this. Well, not arguing, but we had arguments saying that this is a necessity. You have to really look into the possibility of adding this, because that would make it so much more believable, because you would never ever have the freestanding one.
Yeah. And this,
Specifically
I think,
not in a lot like this, because this is in like it's like in the public area. You don't hear it. It's not their lot. It's obviously it's their building, because but they probably don't own the building. They're probably renting, right? Because you wouldn't actually own this type of building. You would have a landlord or whatever. And yeah, I mean, it's just to make it more realistic. This is what needed to happen. So I'm really happy that all the other builders agreed with me and said that for sure that was a thing, and we needed to have that. So yeah,
I'll think
I'm
of
very
you.
happy that it actually happened. And yeah,
I'll think of you every time I place this in game now.
yeah, exactly. But I also think so. It comes in some really nice swatches as well, because you have this one, which is sort of plain, but you also have one with, I think, stickers on and stuff like that, which is
Yeah, I
also a thing,
noticed.
because I imagine that these stickers say, no, thank you, we don't want any advertising here, because that's the thing here. You can opt at the postal services. You can opt to get a no thank you sticker on your mailbox, so that you don't get all sorts of ads and stuff.
Ads, yes.
Yeah. So that's what I'm imagining it would be, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with that, because it kind of, I mean, the other one kind of just stuck out like a sore thumb. It was just really annoying. So I'm really happy that they added that. And then bikes. Obviously, we have bikes, a new bike, which is fine, because especially Copenhagen and a lot of the other cities in the Nordics are very bike friendly. So yeah.
Yeah, they are, especially Copenhagen. I mean, whenever I've been there, there's always tons of bikes everywhere.
Yeah. And actually, if I don't know, I think you have been over the things like the build buy overview or whatever. Or you probably by yourself just went in to see what was actually in the pack. Did you go through debug as well? Because there's actually a world item which is a real like bike rack with bikes on it. I think it's probably also somewhere around the world, and it's just a fabulous item. I
did.
Love
I
it
noticed
so much.
it. I saw it.
Yeah.
It was there.
I'm going to use that everywhere, because it's just perfect. Especially when you're doing commercial builds, because, you know, I would have like a lot like this, and half of the space would be just bike parking, because that's how it is when I go into the city.
Yeah, I'm just having a coughing fit in the background and mute here.
I see you there. Yeah,
it's fine. It's getting itchy. But I think as for this build, if you like, do you have any favorite details that you want to point out about this build? Maybe other than the mailbox.
I'm thinking. No, I think like just in general, I think I'm really happy with the result because I kind of did what I wanted to do. I think the only thing that I really really like about this is those thingies on the roof. I mean, they're just they just really add so much to create something that actually fits with the world, and it really screams like Nordic. So I'm really happy. But I'm always happy when we get those things because I think it's really no. Otherwise, I don't think so. I think no. I don't really have anything that kind of stands out that I'm really proud of that I put in or anything. I think it's just I like the cohesion of it. I think it just really it fits and it's come out like I wanted it to. So no, I'm just happy with it. Yeah. No, I don't really have anything else to say here.
I'm just
I hope
dying.
people like it, and I hope I did the herbs justice with this build because obviously it's difficult to build for something with a lot of lore that you don't know. But yeah, I hope I don't get a whole lot of backlash on things that I forgot or that I should have included or whatever. But yeah, I'm happy with it. I hope people like it as well.
Hopefully people will be kind and understanding in that, you don't know what you don't know. And you've done your best attempt at incorporating as much as you can based on what you know.
I did read all the background info that I got for the family. So I think I did a fairly good job. So yeah. Well, anyway, I can't redo it, so it is what it is.
It's in game now. It is there.
Yeah, it's in game. It's so weird. So yeah, there was like a short bleep of it in the game, not in the gameplay trailer. Yeah, I think it was the gameplay trailer that came out not so long ago. You just see people walking past it, and then it's gone again. But yeah.
Yeah. Should we check out?
That was kind of a thrill seeing stuff like in a trailer. So yeah, that was the thing.
It's surreal, I would imagine.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Because also one thing is that you build for it and you're happy and you talk to the devs and you really feel like you're part of it and everything is, and then you have to wait like 3 months or 4 months for the pack to actually release, and it's it's been a wait, but worth the wait definitely. So yeah.
So are you ready to check out New Harbor Park?
Yes, let's go to the park.
We'll find the park.
Which is not much of a park anymore, or yet.
Maybe it was at some point before all of this happened. Maybe it was a park and then they wanted to do some sort of construction work on it. Maybe that's the story they were going for.
So this lot is also like in my wheelhouse because it's also a combo lot. So you have a park on the one side, and then I guess you would think that maybe, I don't know, so like urban developers or the city officials kind of thought that they wanted to, expand and develop this area. So they kind of sold off part of the park to a developer. Unfortunately, the developer got bankrupt or whatever, went bankrupt, or in
this economy,
left the construction site before it was actually done, and everything is just in a state of disarray, and it's like run down and not finished, and the park has kind of been left to its own devices, and nobody's taking care of it. So everything it's just like, yeah, an eyesore to the city, I guess, because it feels like it's just abandoned, which I like doing abandoned builds. One thing I really, really I thought was such a shame was that I didn't have all the packs, or I wasn't able to put in like floor cracks and you know, all the scuff marks and stuff. I would love to have had that, but So I tried my best to do this like half finished build construction site, like deserted type place. So and it's not easy when you only have base game and this pack, but I sort of pulled it through, I think. So one thing that actually added to this was that we now have the construction site signs. Like under construction, there's a crane on one of them, and there's like no entry type thingy, and beware and wear a hard hat and stuff like that. And I really, really like that. I mean, as one thing is that I'm a builder, and what I've always wanted to have in game is actually a construction career. So where you could actually, let's say, you could go into the construction career and you could be like a construction worker, or you could be the one that you could like buy a lot and like plan out a build, and then you could get construction workers to build on it, and you could like check in on progress and oversee the construction being done and stuff like that. I would really like that. So this is a nod in the right direction, I guess. So I mean, you have like one thing is you have the wallpaper that has like the crossed lines, like the black and yellow lines, that kind of gives that beware kind of thing, which I like a lot. I did it on the half walls because it's only the lower
it's the bottom part.
of the so that's why I did
it's a
the
brick
half
at
wall.
the top. You can barely see it here, and then
exactly.
It's a
That's
clever
why I
use
did
of
half wall.
the wallpaper.
And then there's like the fence also with like the warning line on it, which is also really good. And it's a really good construction fence. I can see that being used a lot of places. So I like that as well. And I like the signs. But for the rest of the build, it was just like, okay, I have to do something half finished. So I used the flooring that kind of shows that it's like there's pipes in the floor or drains or whatever, and it's not done. And then I did the part here where I actually lowered so it's like they're about to lay the floor tiles and they haven't finished, but they are like, it's ongoing.
They were mid-work.
Yeah, exactly. And they just left. I would really love if we had like piles of tile that you could just stack up next to it. Like we have this pile of books, and you can stack the books on top of the books. If we had like a stack of tiles, that would really have fit here. But yeah, it wasn't. So I just had to be a little bit inventive with how I wanted to make it come across that it was just a construction site that had been left mid-build. I did it's supposed to be like a temporary fence, that like a construction site fence on the backside there, dividing the from the park side of it. And then I put up these posters because that's what you would see. That's what I see on construction walls or like fences here. You would see just all sorts of like, I guess, concerts and like fairs and whatever, doing like ads for that, and also some of the inside of the construction site is like just a drywall. I didn't put in wallpaper on purpose because it was supposed to be we just put up like this wall, and it's not been done.
I didn't notice that the first time I looked at it, actually.
Yeah.
It feels kind of wrong as a builder to do that.
Yeah, it's like why didn't you finish it, kind of. But
it goes against our nature.
Instance, it's actually and it's actually on purpose. And then I got there's new graffitis I put in, because I'm thinking that if you have a construction site and it's been deserted and nobody's there and overseeing it, then I would imagine like I don't know, delinquents or like teens hanging out and having a space to like kind of vandalize it because nobody's there to yell at them and like asking them to leave. And I mean, so that's what I was thinking. Or like squatters, I don't know, coming there. I think there's a chair at somewhere in there as well.
A chair?
So I did. It's in the other part, and like in the inside. I think there's a chair there, just randomly left there. Also, I on the backside I did like there's a hole in the ground. It's not a hole in the ground, but there's like a dip. Just if you just turn around on the other side, you can see there's a hole where I put in a lot of rocks. Not here, not there, not on the park lot.
This way.
There, yeah. So I put in like rocks because if there are rocks in the ground, they have to like take them away, so for them to be able to do like the construction, like the foundation of the build and stuff. So that's why it's like they are on their way of actually digging up like the bigger boulders that's not supposed to be there. So that was the idea behind that. Yeah, I kind of thought it was kind of funny. So mid work. And also there are like puddles around because and like big piles of dirt or so you have to kind of excavate or you have to kind of dig down and shovel a lot of the dirt away to actually be able to build. So I tried my best with what I had to deal with here. I didn't have that many options of build mode items to convey that it was under construction, but I think it kind of worked. And also I tried to keep it really simple, like not a very elaborate kind of construction, because if people, so the thing is, I know that this one will probably for the most part be bulldozed and people will use this lot for whatever else they want to build or put anything else there, which is fine because it's just like a placeholder thing so that people can see what the idea is. You can do a park, you can do like a commercial building, you can do whatever here. But also people have the opportunity of actually using this as like a base for a future like business. So they can like expand on it, or they can like refurbish it, or they can finish it up, or they can use it as a starter. So if they do gameplay with storytelling and they buy this sort of finished construction and they want to start up a business, this is one place that they can start easily, because the whole framework of the building has been done. So it's just like finishing it up. So I'm very, I'm eager to see what people actually do with this. I understand if people bulldoze it, and that's fine, because obviously, I think I would probably do that myself, because it's a very great lot. It has a very good location and good lighting and
we
stuff
builders
like that.
get it. Yep.
Yeah, but I still also get that if storytellers they want to use this as like a starting point for a story of starting up a business, I get that as well. So I'm very looking forward to. Well, people do it as like a fixer-upper or like whatever. That will be fun too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what people will do with this. And for the park place, the park part of the lot, it's just the same story. So it's been abandoned and not being kept up, and it kind of just a little bit overgrown here and there, and people left things there, and I'm imagining still, yes, teens or whatever delinquents coming there and vandalizing it. And
these damn delinquents.
We don't like those, but we've been one of those at some point, I guess, all of us in some capacity. But anyway, so there's a chessboard, because it's a park, there's a chess table over there, but it only has one chair, because the other chair has been dragged over here so that they can stand on it and finish the graffiti on the wall. Yeah,
I see.
So that was the kind of the idea behind that one. And so that I'm imagining somebody just dragging the chair over there to be able to reach the top of the graffiti when they painted it.
I would have missed that.
That was kind of fun, I thought. And in this, this building, the small building here, is a bathroom, or like toilets, like public toilets. And one of them, first of all, there are no mirrors, because they have probably been taken down, stolen, shattered, whatever. And one of them doesn't have toilet paper, because I'm imagining that somebody stole it.
How dare they?
It's been abandoned. Yeah. So I put in one toilet paper because you need to have toilet paper. And on the other hand, it's abandoned and somebody probably stole it. So that's why the other one doesn't have it.
I mean, this is realism at its finest too, because who hasn't been at a public toilet? And I might have said this in the overview.
Toilet paper.
Well, there's just no toilet paper. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're not well stocked. Let's say.
No, they are not.
Let's say that. So if like you were
And then I
talking,
just tried to make it a little bit more interesting by adding some features like the what's it, the fountain and like the hole in the ground where like the play area is, so that the kids can be in a contained area. So when adults they go there, they can sit at the park benches and overlook kids playing down there. And also there are some toys down there as well and stuff. So yeah.
yeah, toy. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, like hidden away some places.
There's a
Yeah,
horse here.
yeah, and a lunchbox, I guess. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
So when you built
So
this, did you have any ideas yourself what this building was meant to be, or what it would become, or what it
no,
can be?
I'm actually thinking it would be. I think it would be like a retail, so like a clothing store maybe, or like a bridal shop thingy, because it has like those large windows so you can kind of showcase like mannequins and stuff. Or it could, but I'm thinking more that it would be some sort of retail. It wouldn't be just like a commercial building, not just an office building. It would be somewhere where you would have customers come in. It could be like, I don't know, maybe selling cars. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense actually, because they do have
Because
those
you could,
windows.
yeah. So something where you would want people to see whatever you're selling because it has a lot of windows. And then the upper floor could be like, or it could be like, so if it was like a bridal store, bridal shop, or like wedding thingy, you would have like dressing rooms on the top, or like designer dresses, and you could have like what's it? One of the careers is like, isn't it like fashionista thingy or whatever, where you can look design stuff.
I,
I'm
I,
not that much into gameplay, so I don't really know.
and
But
I
I was
mean,
thinking some sort of thing
you and me
like that.
both.
But I'm thinking retail and actually sellable items. So I wasn't thinking about the classes here. I was definitely thinking about like just a shop of some
Yeah,
kind.
a generic
Yeah,
type of shop that could have
yeah.
anything.
It could be like furniture maybe, or yeah,
Hmm.
all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
How do you like? Obviously, for gameplay, um, you would take your sim here for whatever reason you'd like. How do you see sims actually using this area? There's some children's equipment here. There's a few different things around.
Well, I did try to put in every. So it is like the lot type is a park, right? So I had to have the specific items for a park, and everything is there for a park. So it has bathrooms, it has like the jungle gym, and it has
Chess
like the
table.
thingy, the climbing thingy, and it has like the chess table. Yeah. So everything is there for a park. So I mean, you can just use it as a rundown park.
But is it a
I
park?
mean,
I didn't. Oh, actually, because it's
I think isn't it the lot type is a park, right? Isn't
uh
it?
it says here small business venue, but it could be that it's just my game.
Okay, yeah, no, it's right. I think I actually did try to change it to a park and see if it doesn't really fit all
Normal park.
the required items. I think it does.
Yeah, it does. Toilet, sink, bench,
So
chess table, patio table.
yeah,
That's a patio
yeah,
chair and playground equipment. That makes sense.
yeah. So you could just use it as a park and still have like an abandoned building next to it, or you can use it as a small business venue and actually do up the building on this side and still have the park there, because then if you have customers coming in, you would still have them being able to use the park. Um,
Hmm.
so I mean, you could still keep both, but fix it up if you wanted to. I mean, obviously I did this uh, based on the specs that I got from the developers.
Yeah.
So it's not really my idea to have half park, half construction site, fixer upper type building. It's sort of their original idea.
Hmm.
So you would have to ask them what they were thinking that people would do with a lot like this. But I think it's just to showcase that you could have both on the same lot, because we now have the option of doing sort of multi lot type lots. So I guess that's just a way of showcasing that. I don't know.
Yeah, that
But
could
that's what I
be.
mean. I mean, I did whatever I was supposed to be doing with the specs that I got, and I'm also excited to see what people actually would figure out to do with this, because I mean, the options are endless. You can bulldoze, yeah, and start from scratch, or you can add on to this, or you can change up one side and keep the other. And I mean, it's gonna be fun to see what people would do with this.
Tag
But I do
Laireen.
understand. But yeah, please do, please do. I really want to see it. So do it on like on Twitter, X, on Bluesky, and wherever I'm at. DM me on Discord, whatever. Just show me the pictures of what you do, because I really would like to see. We
Do you
have
have?
such an inventive community, and people really have the greatest ideas with stuff. So I hope this sparks some interest and some ideas, some interesting ideas. Definitely, I think it will definitely. But I mean, sometimes you have ideas, but you don't really have the option of really executing them because you have limitations to the game. So I struggle with that as well as builder. So yeah.
Yeah, that's
But it will be
relatable.
fun to see what people will actually end up doing with it. But I do understand if people bulldoze it, because it's a great lot. It's a great placement, and yeah, great size and stuff.
Prime real estate. Prime real
Prime
estate
real
right
estate,
here.
really, really.
Do
Yeah.
you have a favorite detail about this build that you really love?
I think actually, what I like about this is that I have tried to make it a little bit quirky by adding stuff that's kind of underlining what it is. So, like for instance, the chair that has been dragged from the chess table over there to actually for teens that are not that tall to actually be able to reach and do the graffiti. Stuff like that is very typically me. I do that. So most of the things that I do, especially with details like this, is actually I have an idea with it, so I have a reasoning for everything that I do. It's not very often that I just did it because I felt like it. I always have like an idea with what I do. As the same with like the rocks in the ground, I imagine something and I try to create it. And also, I've been working in construction myself a couple of times over my career in real life. So that was kind of also where I took some inspiration for like the obstacles or the struggles that you can have as a contractor building. So, I mean, that's also why there's like a half-finished roof and vents on the roof, and there's like I put one of the vents ventilation units and on the bottom floor inside the building, where I'm thinking it's just like sort of a generator or whatever. Like, you know, try to convey construction with whatever was in the game. I think it kind of it. So I like the simplicity of this build because it doesn't really have that much on it. I mean, it's a half finished build and it's just a fairly generic park. It's not very beautiful. It could be if you fixed it up, but
It has potential.
I mean, exactly, and that's what I like about this. It's very simple, and it's easy to kind of continue working on or fix it up or make it look better. I mean, that's not hard, but yeah. So I'm just happy with like the small details that I put in that I imagine people would, if they kind of get my idea, that they would find, funny or like good thinking or whatever. Yeah.
Well, that brings us to a natural close on the new harbor park. But I think in finishing, we're actually almost at nearing the 2 hour mark in total
Well,
here.
Mark, yeah, I know.
But I mean, these are your two babies now. These are the two builds that you've done for the pack. Do you think you could pick a favorite, and why? If someone forced
It's
you,
kind of,
like me, for example.
yeah.
I
it's
love them for
hard
different
because there.
reasons. That's the right answer, isn't it? Like with your kids.
Yeah, but it's exactly because I like the coffee shop because it blends so very well into the like. It just fits the world, and I think, and it's a coffee shop, so there. But I
True.
really like the other one because it's simple and it gives the opportunity of so many things. It just has so many possibilities. It can go so many ways, so many directions with that. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what people will actually do with it. And I mean, isn't that like the part of it when you do games like this and you build in The Sims, especially in The Sims 4, with all the packs that we have now and all the gameplay possibilities that we have, that you have so many possibilities, and this really sets up. It's a good starting point, I guess, also for this pack specifically because you have like the small businesses venues, and yeah, I'm just I like, for that reason, I think I really prefer the park a lot, but because the other one is like in quotation marks, it's just a building. It's just a residential with a shop in the bottom, which is whatever. I mean, we have been building that for years, but this one sort of takes a new approach because it's half done. It's not finished, and it's deliberate that it's like this so that people
It's
can
unique.
use this as a base for whatever they want to do with the small businesses in this pack. So I think it kind of opens for another type of gameplay. Yeah.
Yeah. So last question. Do you have any advice for anyone that wants to build or start at building or get better at building?
I've been asked this question before, and I think, and I will say what I mean. Haven't we all? But I mean,
Yes.
I think what I always say is that you do you. There's no wrong way of building, and
True.
if you want to be a really good builder, then it comes with practice. So just practice, practice, practice. I would say one thing to pay attention to, especially that's what I do, and it's like the devil's in the detail. So when you do buildings, obviously you can do a box, that's fine, but to make a box more interesting, try to look at specifically, as I've said before, all the build mode items that we have that kind of gives you a specific style. So the corbels and the spandrels and windows placement and stuff around the build, like columns and like the roof pieces that we have and dormers and all those extra things, and like gutters and drain pipes and whatever, all those things add to making it a little bit more realistic, but it also gives like an edge to it, so it's not just a box. So I would say pay attention to like the details, and also when you do landscaping, I've noticed that a lot of people, they have a tendency of like placing like some bush in the exact same direction just next to each other. So they place 10 bushes and they just line up and they are just identical. And that's not how nature works. So to make it a little bit more realistic and to give it like some sort of dynamic to the build, and to like when you look at it, switch it up, change it around, use the all placement, turn around, and so make sure that it's not too much of the same, because that kind of makes it more natural and that it's more pleasing for the eye. And then also pay attention to colors, I guess. So make sure that the colors kind of doesn't clash. So when you do several colors, especially on the
Good
outside
advice.
of the
I'll add
building.
them to my list too.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm just thinking that there's no right or wrong. You do you. That's the beauty of this game, and the way build mode is. It's very intuitive, and luckily I've been building in The Sims 2 recently, and oh my God, the struggle was real, because I mean you can't just lift up a room and just move it, and you have to kind of
Oh,
bulldoze and shift over. So you get too close to the edge and you want to expand a room, you can't just move the entire lot or the entire house. And for that reason, I'm even more appreciative of all the build tools and the stuff that we have in the Sims 4 because it makes it so much easier. So, and also as every builder would suggest that you would do if you want to have advice on how to build, download all the builds you can from the gallery and pick them apart and see what other people do and watch YouTube videos and tutorials because everything kind of gives inspiration or gives you ideas. I still get ideas from other creators that are amazing at building. So I
Yeah.
mean, everybody learns from each other and we yoink a lot. And I mean,
Yes,
I
we
think
do.
that's fine. I think that's fine. I think that's the way to go because, you get ideas from others that spark your own ideas that you then put out into the world, and then other people see that, and then they create something based on your inspiration. So I mean, we all
Yeah,
share, I guess. So yeah.
I agree.
Hmm.
And that's good advice. I follow a lot of the same advices, or at least I try to.
Yeah.
I guess that brings us to a natural close. We've gone through the builds that you've done for the pack. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for the last 2 hours and explaining the process about building and
Yeah.
working on a pack and what you specifically did for Koffieboon and for New Harbour Park. I appreciate it.
I'm very happy that you wanted to have this chat with me because it's nice to be able to elaborate a little bit on like all the thoughts behind it and the process. And yeah, it's been
Yeah, for sure.
fun.
It has
Yeah.
been. It has been fun. It's
Yeah.
I've learned a lot. I've learned more about a friend that I already thought I knew. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was
Make
nice hanging out with you for a couple of hours and explaining everything. So thanks for having me.
same. And also to anyone, I'll leave Laireen's information where you can find her builds and her socials and all that, so that you can make sure that you follow her and see all the other builds that she does, because I mean she does builds outside of pack builds as well. So make sure you do that. And thank you for contending with me and my illness. I'm gonna take my sick cough somewhere else and go have a sleep. And that's it for today. So have a good night, everybody.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.